Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be underrepresented in leadership within your organization? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing, and if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com and remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is Dr. D. Now, I do have to say, Dr. D, that I'm super excited that you are here. And the reason why is because years ago, I remember coming across the League of Extraordinary Black Nurses. And I remember seeing that, and I thought, and I'm just literally in awe that I'm able to have you here. I'm just so super excited that you're
Aw,
here. I am a super fan of yours. Please be clear
thank
on
you.
that. Please be clear.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
So, Dr. Dania Dunkley, also known as Dr. D, is originally from Jamaica and has resided in New York since the early 90s. In the span of her nursing career, Dr. Dunkley has worked extensively in the area of maternal child health in hospital and community healthcare and in academia. She has now transitioned to a full-time academic role as the assistant professor of nursing at Farmingdale State College in Long Island, New York. Early in her career, Dr. D became aware of the disparities within the healthcare system and their impact on practitioners and patients, especially those of color. As she transitioned from bedside nursing to administrative roles, she began to understand factors contributing to these issues, which includes a lack of diverse representation in the healthcare force, systemic racism, and patients' mistrust in the avoidance of healthcare system. Her dissertation research on the experiences of Black female executive nurse leaders created the inspiration for founding the League of Extraordinary Black Nurses, a nonprofit nursing organization aimed at supporting current and future Black nurses. Additionally, through her newly found consulting company, Dania's Joy, she endeavors to drive positive change in healthcare, empower expectant mothers, and inspire nursing professions. She is passionate about advocating for systemic improvement and diversity and inclusion within the profession and for the eradication of racial disparities, particularly related to Black maternal health outcomes. And so I'm super excited to have you. And I remember one time I was actually in the emergency department. I was taking care of a patient, and she
Mhm,
came in, and for all intents purposes, she should have stayed there. And I
mhm,
remember her being scared. She was scared
mhm.
because, all of the people that were in the room were of a certain skin color, and they
Mhm,
were not the same skin color she was. And so
mhm.
she
Yeah.
was she was scared. And I remember walking into the room, and she was like, "Come here," and I said, "Okay." And so I walked over, and she whispered in my ear that she didn't trust anybody in the room. And I said, "Wow." Wow. I didn't even realize that
Yeah,
that was a thing, right? But it is truly a thing.
it
And
is a
so
huge thing.
and so you have to have, that representation for sure, for sure. So what was the primary reasoning for you becoming a nurse?
Well, I will say that initially I wanted to be a physician. As a little girl, I wanted to be an OBGYN, and that was that. You couldn't talk me out of it. I didn't want to hear of any other careers. And then my mom became a nurse, and she actually was the one who prompted me to try to get into this vocational program while I was in high school. And
Mhm.
so just to expose me to healthcare, see if you actually like it. Because you get in there, you'd be like, I don't
I
know about this,
like
right? So I
ain't
started
sending
an
you to
LPN.
school all them
Yep.
years.
Listen, all that tuition for no reason. Nope, not gonna do it. So I took her advice and did that LPN program and turned out to actually love nursing and the impact that I could have at the bedside and that special communication with patients. So I switched gears and here I am all these years later. I'm now, have been an RN. So it's a total of 20 years, including the LPN years and about 16 years as an RN. So yeah, she was probably the main source of inspiration.
Sweet. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Now you have your PhD in nursing.
Mhm.
What was your primary reasoning for getting this terminal degree?
So there's a number of things. One, I knew that I wanted to climb the career ladder, right? The trajectory that I was on in nursing leadership at first was one that, was becoming increasingly competitive. And when we talk about these disparities, you have to have like everything behind your name to stand out. So
Mhm.
that was one. That was a huge one. I'm, just the overachiever, so I knew I was, even if I had stopped at the master's, I probably would have, in my heart of hearts been like, you should go for it. And then here comes mama pushing. She was like, just do it, just get it over with. So I can call you Dr. Dunkley. And no, but I knew that having a doctoral degree would add just that extra in terms of credibility in my career, and also give me an opportunity to pursue the research that I was so interested in, dealing with health disparities and issues with diversity in the profession. So, yeah, in a nutshell, that was a combination of factors.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I
Mhm.
don't think that I was an overcomer. I was just like, okay, this is just the next step. Let's
Yeah,
keep it
right.
moving. Let's keep it moving.
But it's like that, right? And sometimes in Black households, it's like, okay, after high school comes college. It's just a natural progression, like, and that was the expectation of my mom. Is like, okay, so you got the master's, now what? And, keep it moving. Yeah,
I love it. I
it
love it.
didn't stop just because I was grown. Yeah.
Now, talking about your mother, you talked about your mother passing away at the
Mhm.
beginning of your journey to your PhD.
Mhm.
Tell us about that and how you were able to continue on that journey.
We all face maybe that one or a few life-changing events that can either make you or break you. And for me, that was one that it at the time felt like, this was it. Like, forget this PhD. I'm not, my cheerleader's gone. Um, she had raised me as a single mom and all of that, but um, I realized that what I was doing was bigger than me, right? So I allowed myself to grieve. And I just thought of her and what would she say? Obviously she would tell me to keep going, even though she wouldn't be here to physically see it. And then I remembered all of those who I was called to, right? There would be no LEBN without, me having pushed through. And so I just, I'm a woman of faith, and I always believe that what you go through is not necessarily just for you, right? But
Mm,
it's for that testimony and sharing your story with others so that you can be an inspiration. And, I just took a leaf out of her book. She had failures that I was witness to when I was growing up, and she pushed through them. And so I channeled that same spirit and just kept it pushing one by one, each class at a time. I stopped, I started, I stopped, I started. Took me 6 years, and it probably would have been reduced by about 2 years with all the stops
mm.
and starts. But it's not a sprint. I kept telling myself that I will finish and in God's timing. So yeah, that's how
I
I got
love
through
it.
that.
I love it.
And
I
your
love
village. You got to have that village behind you because they were 100% pushing me along as well.
And and that's I was listening to a podcast this morning. It was talking about your village, and you have
Mhm.
to make sure that you have people around you that are pushing you. Not people around you. Every now and then you need that friend that will coddle you a little bit, right? But then you need those friends that are saying, "You better get up.
Mhm.
This is not the time. This is not
It's,
time to
it's,
play.
it's
This
funny
is."
because in my head I can think of the friends who were saying that to me as you're saying. Yep.
Because it is not. Because a lot of times what happens is we get stuck in the minutia. We get stuck in this, like people get stuck in the fact that we're in the midst of a pandemic. And I've been
Mhm.
more prosperous in the midst of a pandemic than I have ever been. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because you get up every day, you say, like this morning, I got up, I was like, I don't want to get up, but I was
Mhm.
like, okay, you need to get up.
Mhm.
And what gets me up every morning is the fact that I know that, we're affecting every time we come on this podcast, we're
Mhm.
affecting other people. We're
Mhm.
moving people. It is your why. That's
Yeah.
huge,
That's
right?
it. That's it. You got to have a why. Otherwise, it's just meaningless. You're just doing it for what? And there has to be a deeper connection, a deeper inspiration to drive you. You know,
And it
just
has
don't just be out here getting these degrees just to be getting them, and there has to be a mission behind it, a why, as you put it.
that's
Absolutely.
that's right. That's right. Now, now when we first talked, you said that you experienced some adversity in the workplace as an African American leader. Tell us
Mhm.
what that looked like.
So for me, it was less of the overt stuff, right? I've heard horror stories. But for me, many of my leaders were actually African American, which kind of added to why I decided to research them so heavily in my dissertation study. But the ones that weren't, there were plenty of little jabs and microaggressions. Um, it was you're so well spoken. Could you craft this email for me? Because I think you're so well spoken. And it's almost like, okay, shouldn't I be? I'm just as educated as you. It's an email, honestly. It's not like, I've written a dissertation. I can surely craft an email. Things like that, or like, shortening my name, or, just being real flippant. And it wasn't the same level of respect that he or she would command. And there were issues with my hair. One time, my braids. I had braids like you; they were long, and there was an issue with my braids hanging down, even though I was levels and levels above the bedside and would not be doing direct patient care. It didn't matter that, she tried to pull the whole, professionalism and bedside manner. And I'm like, I'm not taking care of patients. How about you tell, the other leadership in the hospital that has their hair readily flowing that, they should pull their hair back. So those kinds of things. And it eats at you, and then you hear the stories of your colleagues. It's just that ongoing trauma every day, just for looking the way that you look, that you have no control over, you know,
Yeah.
and that's stressful. It adds up on a day-to-day basis.
And I've never really, I guess I never really thought of it as microaggressions, but it really truly is because people have said, like, if I have my hair differently, they've come in and they've said, well, your hair is different.
Hmm.
Well, it's because I can have hair that's
Right. It
different.
is different. Thank you. Thank you for your observation. I just, and now that I sit as a chair of my DEI committee at the college where I work now, and it's a brand new committee. It just was formed out of the racial turmoil and everything that happened. We decided that we should have a specific committee within the nursing department to address these issues. And when we discussed issues around microaggressions, my colleagues who don't look like me, and in hearing our stories, they were just mortified because, in their minds, it's not that it was a conscious or purposed aim to disrespect us, but so now it's like, okay, you've educated us, we'll do better. And that's really what we're asking for is, we're when you do these things or when you say these things. So now that you know better, treat us better, work with us and let's move forward. Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of work to be done.
I love it. I love it. So now, what are some of the ways that you internally, like you worked on yourself in order to be able to overcome these adversities?
Hmm. So to repeat the question for me again.
So, what were some of the ways that you
Okay.
internally, like that you were able to overcome these adversities?
Like I said, my huge fallback is always on my faith, prayer, and keeping myself spiritually grounded. But always advocating for myself. When those microaggressions would happen, I had the difficult conversations. You can't accept it and then expect it to change,
That's
right?
right.
So you have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to be a big girl or big boy and address the issue. And when I brought it to the person's attention, it was like, huh, you know, okay. It wasn't met readily with all these apologies, but it at least brought light to it, and she attempted to make a change in how she dealt with me going forward, and likely was doing it to other people, and so that me bringing it forward helped her to realize, oh, okay, maybe I need to change something about how I lead or how I communicate. So you have to be willing to communicate the issues and stop it in its tracks. The thing is that we, turn a blind eye to it a lot of times and say, this is just the way it is. But someone has to start somewhere in order to change it. And even if it's just in your immediate circle within your organization, you are empowered to speak up and challenge the status quo. Even if it's just your still small, shaky voice, let it shake and say what it is that you need to say.
And the more that you say it, the more that your voice will not shake.
That's right.
You'll
That's right.
become bolder in that
That's right.
stance.
Yeah, because I wasn't one. I'm still not one to bark and go at it. For me, it takes a lot of introspection in terms of how I even want to approach it before I react. Right. So I didn't react in the moment, but I went home, I thought about it, I was strategic about how I was going to approach it, and then I did it. And for some others, they might want to address it in the moment, but the fact is, I addressed it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, I used to address a lot of things in the moment and not
Hmm.
necessarily address them in the right way, right?
Hmm.
And so what I needed to do a lot of times was just understand, tamper me,
Hmm.
get me straight before I
Hmm.
address you, because life
Hmm.
is 10% of what's done to you and 90% of how you react to it. So
Right.
you have to make sure that your reactions are representative of a leadership model,
Hmm.
right? Because
Hmm.
we are leaders. And so in
That's right.
order for us to be, taken seriously, we have to act in such a way. So
Right.
yes, I love it. So now what are some of the lessons that you have learned as a result of these adversities?
I've learned never to let anybody make me feel like I am beneath my potential or try to put me in a box. And a lot of times that is how I felt. Um, there was a bit of censorship in which I'd be in a room and the persons would try to speak for me, that kind of thing. And so I realized, you have so much potential, you have so much to offer. You don't have to cower to anyone. There's a time and a place for everything. That's not what I'm saying, that you always have to, put your 2 cents in every time. But when you have something to say and you're confident and you've done the work and you know who you are, don't ever allow anyone to put you in a box. Speak up for yourself, speak up for others. Don't let people treat your colleagues even the way that you would never accept, right? Because they may not be as strong as you are. So speak up for each other. um, and always never be afraid to share your story, because it can help someone else who is maybe trying to get to you where you are, or it can help someone avoid a mistake.
And I think it's important that we when you speaking up for others, it's just like speaking up for your patients. It's just like advocating for your patients. The reality is that we want to, in an organization, you want to make sure that the organization is satisfied. You want to make sure the patient is satisfied. You want to make sure that the staff is satisfied, right? But the
Right.
reality is that, the staff is one of the most important parts of the organization. And so if we can get the staff right, if we can get that portion right, then it will drive the other two. So I
Mhm.
think it's super important to do that. So now, you are the CEO and the founder of the League of Extraordinary Black Nurses. I'm super excited. So, so what was the primary reasoning for starting this business?
Sure. So, like, while I was doing my research, the stories of my participants and how they validated even my own experience because they were so similar, I realized that a lot of the repeated theme was that they didn't have the support and guidance that they wish they could have had, and so now they spend their current time mentoring others, right? And so I thought, what can I do? We have historically we have some Black nursing organizations, obviously like the National Black Nurses Association, and then came along, Black Nurses Rock. So it wasn't a novel idea, and then there are other local organizations as well. But I thought, even if I could reach someone who isn't a part of those organizations or needs additional support, why not, offer another source, because it's certainly not limited on the other side.
That's
Right?
exactly right.
They've got
That's
several.
right.
They've got several that look like them. So I decided to start this organization specifically. Obviously we support all Black nurses, but I wanted that little nuance of the leadership piece, and so I decided to found the organization, and we've been around now since the latter part of 2018, and still pushing. 2020 kind of knocked us off course, but 2021 we're back, and our theme for this year is impact, because we really want to drive home those things that we promised in our mission and in our vision, which is to provide support and different programs to develop aspiring nurse leaders and current nurse leaders.
One of the things that I do have to say is that sometimes you don't know what you need until you get it sometimes,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so your business was one of those things that I was like, when I looked at it, I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then the more I went in, and I really didn't know. Like when I
Mhm.
first contacted you, I didn't
Mhm.
know that you were the founder of this. And I was like, wait a minute, that's who that
That's
is.
me. Oh my
And I
goodness.
was like, yay. So now what are some of the services that you offer?
Sure. So ongoing, we have our mentorship program, which we've labeled Nurtureship, right? Which is
Mhm.
the first part of the word nurse, right? And it also is the first part of the word nurture, NUR. So we combine the two, and it's called Nurtureship. And that's an ongoing enrollment. Anyone who desires to be a mentor or needs a mentor can go ahead and log into the website, sign up, and we will do the matching. This year, like I mentioned, we are going to be launching fully the LEBN Leadership Institute, which is going to be monthly programming, different topics designed to, just expose nurses to different aspects of nursing. Like January, we've got a coronavirus check-in update. February, we're going to have a panel of just different nursing professionals to show the different options that are out there for nurses that sometimes are considered a little untraditional. And then in March, we're going to have a seminar on workplace violence by one of our board members who did her doctoral research on work violence and bullying in the workplace. So different topics, just to offer some color and some light to different issues in the nursing profession, and to offer that guidance and support. And we've got some other things coming up in the pipeline too, especially for Nurses Week, because we want to make sure that our nurses are celebrated in the right way.
That's
And then
exactly right.
We're working on building up our donations for our scholarships as well, which we intend to give away this year.
Yay! I'm super excited about that. I love that. So now, tell me someone who has impacted your career and why were they so impactful?
Um, so at first, I I wanted to say, obviously, but I'm gonna say one of my best friends. She decided after getting her bachelor's in something else that she was going to turn her life upside down and pursue her initial goal of becoming a physician, right? And so now we're mid 30s with the both of us, and she's made this major decision, and I just found that so inspiring. Um, because it just says to me that no matter where you are in life, you can achieve your goals. You can start over. It's never too late. All you have to do is start. And she's probably going to watch this and be like, "Are you serious?" Me? Yes. And that's the other thing. You never know who's watching you and who can be inspired by your story. So, just keep going. Keep going.
And it's one step at a time because I remember being an LPN and thinking that I was going to safely retire and after being an LPN for years and years and
Mhm.
years. And it was okay that I'm not satisfied with that. So I'm going to step up. And so I became an RN. And then I'm going to step up and I got my BSc. And I'm going to step up. I got my master's. I'm going to step up again. I'm going to get my DNP. And then I'm going to step up again and I'm going to become an entrepreneur. And so those things, you just step up. People think that, it's like you get to that place and then you're comfortable. But the reality is that
Mhm.
the more that you are comfortable, the less you are growing. And so you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. That's it.
That is, and if you want wealth in life, if you want to grow your life, if you want your life to be better, you have to be uncomfortable. I can't tell you how often that has happened to me. Now, how do you define wealth?
Mm. It has for me, nothing to do necessarily with money. Um, it's having the right people around you. It's about family. It's about pursuing your passion, right? I believe that if you're pursuing your passion, you won't be broke. The money will come. Um, it's about having love, about being happy, doing those things that bring you joy. To me, that when I hear wealth, yes, the money is in there, but like I said, it's not the primary part. It is being able to enjoy life. Um, that's what it is to me.
I love it. Now, what can a nurse find you if they were looking for you?
Oh, so I am on all forms of social media, Facebook, um, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter, I'm a little less active, but I am on
Me
there.
too.
So I'll give you the ones that I'm more active on, which is LinkedIn and Instagram. You can, the spelling of my name is there. You can find me that way on LinkedIn. Instagram, I am Dr. D, IAMDOCTORD. Or you can email me if you'd like. It's I am Dr. D1 at Gmail. And also, if you are looking to just see a little bit more about my two different businesses, one for Dania's Joy is at www.iamdrd.com. And that organization, I offer professional development, individual coaching. I've got a masterclass coming up. So if you're looking for something in terms of professional development for nurses that look like us, check that out. And LEBN is www.thelebn.com.
Sweet. I love it. I love it. So thank you for coming here today. Again, I'm in awe. And a big fan, a big fan. So please go follow her, guys. So my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitator for Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V. where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of our goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Dr. D, so that you know that your possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nurse. And if you are watching from YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. And if you're not on YouTube, go hit the subscribe button. We have a group called The Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. And remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy.